PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are officially out, and while my first impressions in general, my overall thoughts and review on those will be coming in the next couple of days, I got my review for Spider-Man Miles Morales right here for you guys for the PlayStation 5, and while I love the original Marvel Spider-Man, it's one of my favorite comic book games of all time, probably my favorite, this is my most anticipated game for this next generation so far for first day, and well, I got some thoughts. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video game review. Today I'm going to be discussing Miles Morales for the PlayStation 5. And of course, if you guys are new here and you guys love video games, movies, TV, I love talking all that stuff over here on a daily basis. So hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. Are you guys playing this game yourself? Did you get a PlayStation 5? Let's discuss it all down there. This game takes place just a year later after the events of the first Spider-Man game. Miles Morales is now having his mentor Peter Parker teach him how to be Spider-Man. And when Peter Parker must go away, it's Miles Morales in charge, and once the Tinkerer comes in, some drastic events start happening in his city of Harlem. I was so excited for this game. I mean, honestly, like, I love the first one to death. I thought it was such a passion-filled thing, and it really made you feel like Spider-Man. And for me here, Miles Morales does that exact same thing, while also keeping it feeling new and reinvented. And I was nervous about that, because again, in a sense, the combat is very much the same. The controls are very much the same, but what it needed to do was find its own unique distinctiveness between Peter Parker and Miles Morales that we've seen in, say, Spider-Verse and as well as the comic books. And they did that in spades here. Insomniac does such a fantastic job. They understand the Spider-Man world and in general these characters so well. And really, the way that they built up Miles Morales in the first Spider-Man game pays off so well in this Spider-Man game, because yes, he is Spider-Man, but he's his own unique version of it, whether it's the way that he jumps off buildings, the way that the music plays, and the score that kind of goes about to him. But really, when it comes down to his fighting style and the way that he swings around were some of my favorite things, adding a new depth and layer to this character. But it's the combat that really works for him in general. I don't know how Insomniac expects me to go back and play Peter Parker now, because Miles Morales, his Venom Punch, his camouflage, all that sorts of stuff adds such a great layer of fighting that it was hard for me to put down the controller. I just wanted to keep solving and fighting crimes and stopping everyone from just being bad in New York. And I loved being Miles Morales, maybe even a little bit more than playing Peter Parker in the first game. I loved seeing all these new powers. Maybe that's just that new thing that I love diving into since I've played the original one so much. Really hard for me to say, hey, I want to go back and play Peter Parker now with all of his little gadgets, which again, were fun, but Miles is just awesome to play as, and I loved seeing how this is just his first steps into becoming Spider-Man. And that's also something I was worried about. I wondered how big on a scale level that the story would truly be without Peter Parker being truly throughout the entire thing. And just so everyone understands, this is a non-spoiler review. I'm only talking about stuff that has been seen in the trailer, any big character reveals, character arcs, and especially the ending, or of course the post-credit scene, which there is a post-credit scene. Make sure to stay behind. I will not be dissecting in here, but we can have a conversation down below in the comment section if there's anything you guys want to discuss in there, so leave a comment as well. Miles Morales, though, again, while yes, we know the combat's going to be a ton of fun and it's going to be great, while he didn't have too many gadgets like Spider-Man did, I like how that Venom Punch and the camouflage added a whole nother layer. But even going into that, the technical aspect of this game is running at 4K 60 frames per second, and it looks superb. Now, yes, you do have two different modes. You can do 4K with the ray tracing and 30 frames, or you can do 4K 60. I'm always going to go with the performance boost because I like how my games run a little bit more smooth, and I love that. And when it came to glitches, I know some people ran into a couple. I only ran into two in particular where the game froze, and I don't know if that's the PlayStation 5 necessarily or the game. And necessarily, I also ran into one glitch where I had to restart the mission. But besides that, on a technical scale, the loading is seamless. You click the game, you start it, and it's within seconds it loads. There's 0 load screens throughout the entire game. Usually when you go into a hideout, you'd have to wait to go back out. Nope, you swing right out. Fast traveling, who cares? You take a fast travel, you pop right out. It's insane, and that's truly what this next generation is touching on the performance and the gameplay, and you feel that all in Miles Morales. And really, as a first title, next-gen title, this very much feels that way. And if this is only the start, I can't wait to see what they do next. Because Miles Morales, there's so much to do once you beat the game. You know, you have more crimes. Just like Spider-Man, you have more collectibles to collect. And that's all stuff I want to dive into. And again, you have New Game Plus as well, which is something that I'm very excited to dive into and go back through the story, because the story is superb. superb. There are certain moments in here that I got teary-eyed. There are certain moments that my jaw hit the floor, and there are certain moments that I just felt like Spider-Man. And that's what the purpose of these games are, is to immerse you and make you feel like these characters. And I felt like Miles. I felt like Spider-Man, just like the original game did so well. And that's always been my favorite thing about these games, is the way that it makes you feel like it. And the fact that this new loading and how fast everything works is, I can be Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man has a normal life besides just fighting crime. And I love that because I have a normal life besides playing video games. And it was fun to dive in, play Miles for a couple hours, or in general, maybe even a couple minutes. Do a couple crimes here and there, grab a couple collectibles, maybe even do a mission. And be able to swing right back out, save, and turn it all off, and go about my normal life. I love that. And again, it's seamless in the way that Insomniac was able to bring that all about. Plus, again, the graphics, they're beautiful. And looking at Najee Jeter, who plays Miles Morales, does such an excellent job in this game as the character, again, bringing that emotional aspect that we really much care about. Again, looking at Miles Morales, those are my pros. I love the story, and I very much love the combat. I love the new and reinvented stuff they put in here, and it runs so smooth. And yes, I do have some cons for this. I do find the game, just as the first one, I found it to be a little bit more repetitive in certain aspects, and in general, just kind of similar to the first game, whether it's in the map, and yes, it's really cool to see all the snow around. I mean, getting to play as Spider-Man swinging around the snow is really cool, and how it all works graphically. But again, it is pretty much the exact same map from the first game, just some new added details here and there, and you do go to some certain locations that we've been before. And I was expecting maybe a little bit more from that, just to be completely honest. I was expecting maybe a little bit of a bigger map or maybe a new area, but in general, it's the exact same map. And it's the exact same combat style without the reinvented stuff that I do want to bring up, that some people may feel like it's a little bit too similar. I don't think particularly it's all too similar in certain areas, but it's something to mention. Actually touch on something that they improved on from the first one. My biggest issue with the first one was how boss battles felt so damn repetitive. Do this, swing around, hit this, hit that. And yeah, some Miles Morales, they can get like that, but adding in those new layers of combat add to each and every fight, and the intensity of each and every fight, especially the final one, is absolutely jaw-dropping. The frame rate never dropped at one point for me, and I was just sitting there just in awe of everything going on. Miles Morales is absolutely the game to pick up first day for your PlayStation 5. It makes you feel like Spider-Man. You feel like this new interpretation of Spider-Man, and I have no idea how Insomniac expects me to go back and play as Peter Parker, because I loved playing as Miles Morales. I love his Venom Punch. I love the camouflage. I love every new addition that they added to this, and I love how it's just a subtle step for that next story. You know, I think the next one is really much going to be about Peter Parker and Miles Morales, maybe a little bit more by Peter Parker, but maybe it plays both. I don't know yet, but I love this. I love the suits. I love the gadgets. I love the adding up, and I love just swinging around the city. It's just so perfect. The playing on the PlayStation 5 is something just next gen. I mean, that's what you want me to talk about, and I will definitely be doing a full video on the next generation consoles, but this is the reason, you know, if you get a PS5, this is the game to play. It runs so greatly, and the story really hit me in a heartstring, and I cannot wait to see what Insomniac does next with this world. So with all that said, I'm going to give Miles Morales a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on this. You guys are seriously all the best. Make sure to let me know down below in the comment section what your guys' thoughts are on this game. Were you guys excited for it? Were you not? As well, guys, head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, it's a big thing to you and a big thing to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Keep swinging, be yourself, and have a great rest of your day.